Hi guys, we are solving the problem number of violations. This is a medium difficulty problem and we are going to solve it using Python. So we have been given a data set of health inspections. We need to count the number of violation in Roxane Cafe for each year. Okay, so three things I understand from here. Number of violations. There would be a column which gives us violation, likely violation ID. So we need to take account of this column. Filter by the data wherein the cafe name is Roxane Cafe. I saying that is the business name and for each year. So we need to group by each year. If the inspection resulted in a violation, there will be a value in violation ID column, which also means that if the inspection did not result in a violation, there could be a null value as well. So yeah, so while counting or before counting the number of violations, we should also check for null values and filter them out. Then finally output the number of violations by year in ascending order. So we need year and number of violations per year and for this particular Roxane Cafe. Let's try to let me try to logically break this problem down into steps. Okay. So the very first thing I would do is count. Okay, before even counting, we need to check violations for Roxane Cafe. So filter out all records, filter out all records, or filter, I would say filter only those records where your business name is Roxane Cafe. Okay. The second thing I would check is any other filtrations I need to do. Yes, if an inspection is a violation, there will be a value in the violation ID column. So based on violation ID column, I need to filter out all records where violation ID is null or something like NaN, a null value. And the third thing now I need to do is output the number of violations by year in ascending order. So group by year and output the number of violations, which is the count of violation ID, and return in ascending order. So sort by ascending, which is the default sort by whenever you use a sorting. Okay, so let's move ahead and try to code this. So one thing I observe is my input data frame name is SF Restaurant Health Violations. It's a pretty big name. So what I can do is I can create, like, copy or store all the everything of about this particular data frame in another data frame called DF, which will make my typing and understanding of the code easier. Okay. So now let's start with our first step, which is I'll take the DF data frame. Okay, and I'll filter out business name Roxane Cafe. So DF, wherever your business underscore name equals ROXANNE Cafe. Okay, so that's your first condition. Second condition is based on violation ID columns, filter out all records where violation ID is null. So now there are two conditions here. So first condition, let me just put them in round brackets and I'll apply an AND logical operator here and put my second condition. So my second condition says your violation ID column should not be null. So there is a function called isNA. What it does is it checks if is your value NA, where whichever records the value is NA, it will replace it by true. And if I do this, I will get only those records where the violation ID is actually NA. What I actually need is I need to filter them out. So I actually need all those records where the violation ID is false. is not NA. So you can apply a tilde, which is a negation operator. So it will negate all trues into false and all falses into trues. Okay. And this is my first data frame that I got, which will just filter out all records for Roxin Cafe, and it will filter out all NA records. Now let me take another data frame. What I need to do is on my first data frame, right? I will on my previous data frame I will group by year. Okay. Uh, and then and I'll come to this particular group by function here. So you need to group by year, and you need to return the count of violations. So your violations are stored in this violation ID column, and you need to take a count of this. And whenever you use a group by, you also use reset index. So because what group by does is this particular year column, it will index it. So we need to remove this out of the index and reset the index. When you use reset index function, your index gets reset to 0, 1, 2, 3 and the number series, and this year would start appearing in your data frame as your first column. Now just looking here, right, do we have something called year? We have inspection date. Let's preview how the values for this look like. Seems like this is it. So we don't actually have a year column. It's more of YYY format. So what we would need to do is we need to convert this inspection date into and like just parse out the year from it. To do that, we have a pandas function called date to date time. To underscore date time, it would be useful especially for interviews to have some basic idea and syntaxes, input parameters for some common functions. So to date time function, it will accept your uh, sorry, it will accept the column that you want to parse. So what I do is df1 column name is inspection. What was it? It's here inspection date. So I'll just put that here inspection date, and what I need to do is before with like within the group by clause itself, all this goes. So dt.dt.year. If I need to pass out the month, it will be .dt.month and so on. And the rest of the code is as it is. Let's try to run it. It is solved, which means that this is the correct solution. Okay, so it's just 3 lines of code. Thank you.